Hey ladies, it's been a while and I'm so sorry for those of you who have enjoyed watching Gwynnie Bee videos and reviews on the clothing. I know it's been some time since the last time I posted one, and so this is actually going to serve as an intro to two videos that I'm going to upload just to help save time and hopefully cut down a little bit on the delay that's already been way longer than I anticipated. So just to kind of give you a heads up, what I had ended up doing was combining the November-December outfits into one video, and the delay on that one was, number one, I needed to do the intro for it, which is this, and also one of the items I got, which was a wrap dress, I could not get it to work, and I was trying to figure it out and just kept delaying the filming on it, and eventually kind of gave up on it, which you'll see if you watch the November-December video. And then with January and February, the weather has been very chilly, and because I had gotten a few sweaters and sweater dresses, I was finding myself actually just reusing outfits. So the rotation wasn't nearly as much as I might normally do, and so it's just been easier to combine them into one video. So I'm going to kind of keep an eye on that and see how that goes. I know it causes a delay with uploading anything, but with being in grad school, working full-time, and doing an internship, it might just end up being easier for me in the long run to do a bi-monthly video for a little while instead of monthly. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm just not rotating outfits as quickly as I might normally because of these issues. So I just don't have time to do the filming as much, and so I do end up wearing things more than once. Even if I'm not a huge fan of them, I still seem to end up wearing them more than once in most cases. So anyway, that's just an explanation as to where I've been. I'm still a member of Gwynnie Bee, and I'm still using the outfits, so I know we're kind of backtracking a little bit on some older stuff with these videos, but I still hope you'll enjoy them. If you've tried any of these outfits, definitely let me know what you thought of them down below, and hope you enjoy. This is going to be either November, December, or January, February, depending on which one I attach this to. And we'll see you in March, maybe, or maybe in April for March, April. We'll see how that goes. V-neck shift dress with blouson sleeves in orchid in a size 2X by Alexia Admore. So this berry colored dress is very, very bright, and it definitely helped pick up the mood in the office when I wore it during a rainy day period about a week or two ago to the office. I was starting to feel like I was wearing a little too much gray and black, and then this appeared with my Gwynnie Bee, and the time was right to go ahead and try to infuse a little color into the office. So this definitely did that trick. The dress itself is fairly comfortable. It's fairly easy to wear. There is a zipper, but I didn't need it. You can definitely pull it over. It is a little bit big on me, but not too bad. I think if I were to size down, it would end up being snug across the middle, which is the area that I really need to watch out for with dresses, especially. I like the fact that the neckline has a little bit of a neckline without it being too low, so I didn't have to worry about it too much. But one problem for me is that because the upper portion of it is larger on me than the lower portion, I did have to be careful about it gaping when I would bend over to pick up something, because it's just a little too roomy up here. So I ended up wearing a scarf over this area, and that ended up solving the problem pretty easily for me. The stitching up on the shoulder, I don't know how well that's going to tell across the screen, but it's kind of, it's ruffled a little bit, kind of ruched a little bit, so it gives a little bit of a arch to the shoulders, which I don't mind too much, except again, my problem with it is because the dress is a little bit larger up on top, I would find that these would kind of bunch up a little bit throughout the day, so I would have to kind of tug the dress back into place. The other thing that I'm not too crazy about is the way that they have the sleeves. They are a very full sleeve with an elastic gather at the wrist, and while it's a good length and I have lots of room in the arm, there's something about the gather on the wrist that makes this feel a little bit old-fashioned nightgowny, if that makes any sense. Some of you might understand what that means, what I mean by that, but there's something about this that makes me think of like the nightgowns that my grandmother used to wear. And it's just the sleeve that does it. The fabric itself doesn't remind me of it. The fabric is definitely not a nightgown material, but there's something about the sleeve that makes me think of nightgowns. So after a day of wearing this, I was kind of done, and I wasn't really interested in wearing it again, but I really liked it for the one day of trying to bring some color into the office. So if you're feeling kind of the winter blues at this point and you're wanting something that's going to still be kind of sturdy enough to wear during the winter time, especially if you are in a position where you're transitioning from cold outside to warm inside, this might be a good piece for you to consider. And it will definitely brighten up the office if you're trying to get out of the, gray-black thing that happens during wintertime. So think about it.
Printed sweater dress in black and ivory by Taylor Dresses in size 2X.
This was actually pretty soft, which was cool. I was a little worried that the fact that it's a full knit dress would make this scratchy, especially in the office, as heat and air conditioning and all of that keeps changing. Sometimes fabric can get a little bit scratchy over time, so I was a little worried that wearing this during the day might end up becoming uncomfortable, and I'm pleasantly surprised that it didn't. During the height of the heater at work, it did get a little warm, but in the grand scheme of things, I can't really complain too much about that. It is a 3/4 sleeve, and it is a pull over, so there's no zip to fight with, which is nice. And the contrast detailing of the kind of blocky stripes here is kind of a neat little pattern. They almost look like, I don't know, fence rows or something like that. And that's all knit into the fabric. It's not like an extra layer. So you're not fighting with it, which is nice. And I appreciate that the neckline is not too low, but also isn't going to choke you. So I'm not a big fan of turtlenecks or mock turtlenecks, even during the winter time. So it's nice having something that is warm and comfortable and sweater-like without feeling like I can't breathe. So that's kind of a nice thing. The one thing that I don't like about it is, and this is, just kind of natural, it's par for the course, the white portions of it have gotten dingy over time in multiple washings. So it actually ends up a little bit more of a dingy white or kind of a dirty gray color. And as time has progressed, the kind of the under layer of the white threads is starting to peek through. So it definitely makes the dress feel and look a little bit aged or worn out. And if I had owned this for a number of years, that would have been fine. It could have been, wrapped in memories, but I haven't, and it's not. So I'll go ahead and send this one back, but it was nice for a couple of wearings. So if you are still in the throes of winter and you need something warm for the office, this might be a good option for you. Consider it.
Baroque print shift dress by Eliza J in the size 20W.
So this one's slightly more snug across the hips than I would prefer. It's not too bad. It's not like I'm going to pop any seams sitting down, but it's a little bit tight. I can live with it, but I don't think that I'm interested in wearing this more than once because of it, which is kind of too bad because I like it in general. I do like the pattern on here, the kind of Baroque tapestry-esque styling on this with the pop of pink, which actually continues in the zipper. The pop of pink does. And there's a pretty prominent gold zipper in the back. It's kind of weighty, and you can definitely feel it as you're wearing it. By comparison to the fabric, it's pretty heavy, the zipper is, so it's definitely noticeable. It's not too bad, but it's definitely noticeable, so just be aware of that. The fabric itself is pretty thin, but it is lined, which is nice because then you don't have to worry about too much peekaboo through the fabric. But it's definitely not a warm dress. So if you are in an area where the environment is really cold right now, unless you're planning on wearing this inside an office and you're going to layer it, this is probably not the best dress for you right now. It is a almost full sleeve, and I'm not feeling any tugging in the shoulders, which is nice. And even though it does have the zipper, it was something that I was able to pull on over my head. So zipper is functional, but it's not required. At least it wasn't for me. The length is pretty good. I didn't wear it with the navy blue, stockings underneath. This is just for the purposes of the video, but I mean, it was okay. It was all right. It's definitely something that I enjoyed wearing the one time. But I think because it's slightly uncomfortable for me, it's slightly a little too tight, I am going to go ahead and send it back. I think sizing up would actually make this really too big for me. So definitely check measurements on this one and comparisons of how things fit to see if this is going to work for you.
Beguiling Border Wrap Dress by Kiona in a size 2.
So, sorry to be flashing you my underwear, but so I am pretty well versed in wearing wrap dresses. I actually really like wrap dresses. They do well with my figure, and both the faux version and the authentic version, real wrap dresses. This is a real wrap dress, and I'm having a little problem with getting this to work with my body. So as someone who has done, picture tutorials on Facebook for other people who have needed help with understanding how to wear a wrap dress, I can say pretty comfortably that I know how to put on a wrap dress. This one in particular is just not made for my body type, and from what I've seen online with the reviews, I'm not the only one who's kind of struggled with this one. For those of you who have managed to make this one work with your body, then awesome. Because I think if it wasn't for this issue on this would be a great dress otherwise. But the problem is, for me at least, that the way that they kind of wanted the neckline to fall, it didn't leave enough fabric for when I was doing the wrap to actually pull it fully over for the type of coverage that I need for my chest. So I would end up having to wear a tank top underneath this, and it would still end up falling strangely because of the way that the fabric is tied. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I did want to give you an opportunity to take a look at it. It's a pretty comfortable fabric otherwise, and it's a pretty fabric. I like the color of it. I definitely like the pattern on it. And this isn't going to dissuade me from wrap dresses in any way, shape, or form. It's just this one in particular is not going to get worn out of the house. So I'm going to send this one back. And if you've tried this one, I hope it worked for you, but it's not working for me.
Patchwork Printed A-Line Dress by Jet in size 2X.
You know, these house brand shift dresses, a lot of people give them a lot of guff about. They are, kind of cheaper material in some respects. At least it feels a little cheaper. And they have a tendency to be a little bit too big. But in general, I actually don't mind them that much. I find them pretty easy to work with, pretty comfortable. Nothing that I would necessarily want to keep long term. But because they offer them in so many different varieties and patterns and colors, I feel like this is just an easy go-to. I like the long sleeve on this. I like the color blocking on the side. The pattern does go in the back. There's no zip to it. One thing that is often hit or miss with the house brands is the neckline. In many cases, especially in their earlier iterations, the shoulders were just done so wide that the neckline just made it impossible to work with for those of us that don't have wide shoulders. We would just end up having to, I was constantly having to wear shirts underneath it to prevent exposing too much at work. And so that was annoying. And so I'm finding, especially in some of the newer ones, that that's not as much of an issue, and I really appreciate that because I don't really necessarily want to have a whole bunch of layers underneath it. So this neckline actually works really well for me. It's a little bit low, dips a little bit low sometimes, but I can work with it, so that's good. This is lined, as are most of their house dresses, lined in similar fabric, so it does create a static issue, especially in dry air. So I do end up having to use a wrinkle releaser when I wear this. But, I really like kind of the country quilt pattern of this and the colors and the purples and the blues. It allows me to kind of wear something that's more subdued for winter, but it's still colorful. And I like that. Not that I don't wear bright colors too, but you know what I mean. So, anyway, this one's okay. I wore it once to work. I'll probably wear it once or twice more and then send it back.
Mod printed belted shift dress by Jet in size 2X.
I was a little hesitant about the orange and the gray on this one, to be honest. When I closeted it, I wasn't sure how well that was going to end up working. But I actually kind of like it. There's something very, computerized about it. I don't really know how to explain it. There's something that feels very technological about this color combination. It reminds me of like circuits and computer stuff for some reason. It's pretty comfortable. It is lined, but because it is a house brand, it's in that fabric that's extremely staticky. So static releaser is definitely something that I'm going to need for this. The belt was a little weird, so it's actually attached to the side here. I guess it's intended to kind of wrap around and tie back on this side, but I don't have enough, or maybe I have too much in the middle here to actually allow it to wrap twice, so I have to tie it on this side. I could tie it on this side, I suppose, but I think that would look even stranger, so not quite sure how to work the tie, really. I might have to play with that a little bit more to really kind of figure that out. But other than that, it's pretty simple and straightforward. It does have some button up sleeves that you can roll up and, button with the placket there, which is nice. If you want a longer sleeve, you can certainly, coordinate that. There's no zip. It's a pullover. Pretty soft and comfortable, relatively lightweight, but it is, longer sleeves, so I can wear it during the cooler weather. Obviously, if you live in a snowier climate, you're going to have to layer, so, because it is kind of thin, but for me, where I am, it's just fine. I like it. I don't love it, so I will probably wear it once and send it back, especially the belt thing is weird for me, but other than that, I actually kind of like it a lot better than I thought I would. There's something a little bit, like I said, a little bit technological, a little bit kind of modern art-y about it. And that's not usually something I gravitate towards, so it's kind of nice having something a little bit different. It's kind of fun.
Split sleeve paisley dress by INC International Concepts in a size 2X.
So this one ended up actually being a lot of fun, and it kind of surprised me because, as you may know if you've seen some of my other videos where I've talked about some of the Gwynnie Bee stuff, one of the things that I haven't been a big fan of is the cold shoulder trend. To me, it's just a little weird. I've tried it a couple of times. It's been okay, but in general, it's not my thing. And one of the things with Gwynnie Bee is that when they come out with new clothes, it tends to be like whatever that trend is, but like constantly. right now bell sleeves are the big thing, and it seems like everything that they're putting out has bell sleeves on it. But anyway, that having been said, I was a little skeptical about this one because it is a split sleeve. Not quite exactly the cold shoulder thing, but you know, close enough that I was like, wasn't really sure how I was going to feel about this. But I really like the colors, and I like the kind of medallion-esque representation of the fabric, so I was willing to give it a go. And I didn't mind this too much, and I think maybe part of it is because my shoulders themselves are actually still covered, so I don't have to worry about, you know, playing too much with my bra strap and trying to figure that out. It's the upper arm that's exposed, and it's not fully exposed, it's still covered. You just kind of get peaks here and there as you're moving around. So I kind of like that. The little button that attaches the pieces together is like a little crystal, so that's kind of pretty. And I like the kind of drapiness of the rest of the fabric after the fact, and so it's kind of a flowy, it's a controlled flowiness, if that makes any sense at all. It's still, you know, put together, but there's still an element kind of that flowy nature of it. I really do love the colors. I've worn this actually a couple of times to the office. I'm going to go ahead and send it back now because it's starting to get to be too cold for this particular dress. But I've worn it with just by itself a couple of times, and then as it started to get colder, I wore it once with some wine-colored leggings just to keep my legs warm, and that was kind of fun. So pretty easy, pretty comfortable, no zipper. It's a pull-over. There is a lining to it, but it is a thin fabric, so in general it's not, you know, super clingy or super thick in any way. So in general, I actually really like this one. It's a little too much for me to consider keeping as a basic wardrobe piece. I think after a little while I'd get tired of it, but it was definitely fun for 2 or 3 wearings, and now I'll be sending it back. So definitely think about this one if you like colors.
Pullover blouse with cutout detail in ginger by Skies Are Blue in size 3X.
Okay, trying this in a new position in the living room, so I'm hoping the lighting will be okay with this. It'll be a little bit hard to tell until I have a chance to download and take a look at it. But anyway, so this blouse is actually a little bit more uncomfortable than I was anticipating it being. It looked like it was going to be really kind of loose and flowy, and the sleeves are, but the body of it is actually a little bit on the snug side, and apparently whoever wore it before me also discovered that because there's a hole in the seam, which the inspection team, I guess, didn't catch, or I don't know, maybe it was a small one, and I don't know, but anyway, it's a little drafty down there, and so obviously I won't be wearing this one out, but it's not bad in general. It is a little bit more of a tomatoey red than I was expecting. It's got a little bit more of an orange undertone, and I was thinking that it was going to be kind of a bit more like a Christmas red, so a little bit more blue undertone to it. I didn't mind it, it just wasn't what I was expecting. But the thing that I don't really like about this and why it's uncomfortable is that where the bell sleeves are and down on the bottom where kind of it flares out in the peplum, it's got like this open stitch thing. I don't know how well that's going to show up on the camera, but it's got this open stitch thing, which is, you know, kind of cute, I guess, as far as the detail is concerned, but it actually makes things a little bit uncomfortable because I'm very conscious of it. You can definitely feel it, and so it keeps feeling like the blouse isn't hitting me in the right spot, like I need to tug down the sleeves, even though you can see that the sleeves are quite voluminous. I do like the neck detail here with the crisscross hatching there, and it is a pullover style, so there's no zip to fuss with. In general, I think It's kind of cute and could potentially be a cute like holiday shirt, even though it's not quite a Christmas red. But it could be like a cute little thing to wear to the office during the holiday season. So keep that in mind if that's something that you're looking for. But yeah, with the hole in the side, unfortunately, I'm not going to give it a test run. So I'll go ahead and send this one back.
Black and white dress in printed lace by Robbie B in size 2X.
Yay. I was a bit disappointed with this one, to be honest with you. I thought it was going to be a little bit more of a sweater dress. It is a knit fabric, but it's definitely not like a sweater dress. It's definitely more kind of a standard fabric material. And the lace on here is a print. It's not actually like a change in fabric. It's essentially one solid piece of fabric. It's just the pattern changes. So I was kind of meh about it. It's comfortable enough. It fits okay. There's no zipper, so that's nice. It is a short sleeve, so that's also nice if you're in an environment where maybe long sleeves are a little bit constricting, or if you like, type a lot and stuff like that. This can be a little bit more comfortable sometimes in the office. So that's kind of nice. It, like I said, it's an easy fit. With it being black and white, it's pretty easy to accessorize and put together. But I don't know. And then the other thing that was a little annoying is, so it has this internal placket thing, which a lot of dresses do. I think I'm using the right term for it. It's kind of a satiny white color, which, by itself is not an issue. But the problem is that it's very short. And so trying to get it to tuck in and stay in was a bit of a challenge because it kept wanting to flip out again. So that just got annoying. So it got to the point where by the end of the day, I really wanted to just take it off and send it back. So not my favorite. I mean, it was all right for one and wearing, but underwhelmed.